All right. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Good to be back. I know it's been a long time. My apologies. One of those things where I went on vacation in July and I got back and just wasn't really feeling kind of coding for a while. And, one thing led to another and suddenly we're gone for a couple of months. So, yeah, welcome. I'm glad to be back. We're going to give this a shot. I kind of needed a project to do that I thought would be, one sec. I kind of needed a project to do that I thought would be interesting, something that could potentially be useful for me. So I've got a couple different devices in my house. My router, my server, and both my Raspberry Pis both have hardware watchdogs. And if you're not familiar, the idea with a hardware watchdog is if there is some kind of fault with the system and things are locked up in such a way where basically all you can do is reboot it at that point, the watchdog's job is to realize, like, hey, I haven't seen any activity from some program controlling the watchdog in a minute, 10 minutes, whatever. And eventually it will just reboot the entire machine. So it's like a hardware trigger to reboot the machine if something goes wrong. So the Linux kernel actually has a Watchdog driver API, and we're going to be programming against that today with Go. So it should be pretty fun. It's worth noting systemd can do this, and I've actually been using systemd for this for a while, but I think it could be kind of interesting to build, kind of build from the ground up and do some kind of like general health checking daemon. Like I could have something that can check the health of various different things, like possibly, I don't know, like possibly network status or the IP addresses on an interface or something like that. And based upon that information, decide whether or not we should continue the watchdog or if the system could just totally use a reboot. So in general, lots of the problems I've run into can't necessarily be fixed with a reboot because it might be something like my ISP is down, but I think this could be pretty interesting and kind of fun to play with. And it also looks like a pretty simple API, so we're going to give it a go. So the basic idea is we open the dev watchdog device on Linux, and it has an ioctl API, IOCTL, ioctl, whatever you want to call it. I've always said ioctl, I'm not exactly sure, but the basic idea is you open the file descriptor, and if you just keep issuing it this keep alive command every little bit, it will ensure that the system is not rebooted. So this is telling the kernel to probe whatever the watchdog device is, whether it's built into like your motherboard or possibly your possibly like your CPU or something. I think in the case of my server, I believe it's actually part of the CPU, the AMD CPU, but I think on like my PC Engine's APU and the Raspberry Pi, it's somewhere else on the board. Bind the watchdog to the Prometheus metrics endpoint, restart the server if it can't be scraped. Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty reasonable idea, actually. We'll restart the whole server if one process can't be scraped. It's worth noting that Go Crazy is what I use in my Raspberry Pis, and Go Crazy already has some limited functionality of this, so I kind of stole a little bit of Michael's code there, and I was just kind of playing around with it. But there are other APIs we can use here as well. So, for example, we can actually determine how long is left on the timeout. We can get the timeout or set the timeout, and depending on some condition, we might want to make it so that we wait longer or shorter for the watchdog. And there's a couple other APIs here as well. Excuse me. So the pre-timeout, before the actual time to reset the system, this allows Linux to record useful information like panics and kernel core dumps before it resets. Now, I seem to remember poking at these a couple of months ago, and I'm pretty sure my average consumer gear doesn't support some of these commands, but we're going to find out. The number of seconds left before reboot, that seems like a good thing to know. And there's also a way to actually get information about the device. So, for example, you can get its identity, the firmware version, options, which is like a bit mask. So if it isn't already in XSys, we're going to add support to XSys for these things and gather that information. You spent your last week on ioctl type software dummy. You lost too many hours in this. Yeah, it's not always the friendliest stuff, unfortunately. Excuse me. Yeah, the ioctl interfaces in general are pretty old school Unixy type things. Like basically, it's not a read, it's not a write. Like if it doesn't really fit into a regular file operation, it's like here's an ioctl, and you pass some magic flags, some structure the kernel may or may not populate with data. Sometimes you pass an integer, sometimes you pass a pointer to an integer, sometimes you pass a struct. Like there's all kinds of really weird stuff. Like it really is the truly grab bag API on Linux. So we're gonna, I think probably starting with XSys would be a good place to go so we can add support for this. So I'll show you all what I have so far. Oops. There we go. So I was playing with this just a little bit, and we're just doing raw ioctl calls. But the thing is that we don't really want to do this Unix syscall manually because this is kind of ugly. And actually, there should be like type-safe wrappers for things like fetching integers. So for example, things like the keep alive period, or keep alive, actually, this is going to have to be a manual one, but Get timeout, get support. These are get timeout is fetching an integer. I don't remember what size exactly it is, but I think it's just the system pointer size, so int should be fine. But this could be like ioctl get int instead of like the Unix syscall manual stuff. But then we're going to need to add support for Watchdog Info, and then if we add Watchdog Info ioctl, we might as well add a wrapper function for that too. Let's see here. ioctl doesn't fit into the file operations plan. I would like to have a word. Yeah. I mean, Plan 9 definitely took this idea to the next level and kind of fixed some of that madness. Does Plan 9 have ioctls in like a similar way? I'm not actually sure if it does. So we're logged into my server today. It's got this SP5100 TCO Watchdog device. I believe this is embedded in the CPU or something. And I actually wrote this program and put it on here. And if you run this and the program quits, you'll actually get a message in dmessage that says, hey, by the way, your program closed the Watchdog handle, but the Watchdog was not stopped. Now, I understand there is some way to do this gracefully. Based on my previous research, I thought it was like this capital V character, but I don't remember. Maybe this isn't supported on all systems. So the whole thing with this is like basically the only things we're guaranteed to have are the dev Watchdog device and then the ioctl to keep it alive. Like everything else is kind of like just going to depend on your system. So we will see what's going on with that. You'd have files you read and write. So this is for Plan 9. You'd have files you read and write, maybe something like Watchdog reset, Watchdog timeout, and so on. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's kind of funny because stuff like sysfs and would be more like that in Linux, but I think this is a pretty old API. So if you look at the dates, let's see here. It's copyright 2002 and then last reviewed 2007. So this is a pretty old API. Hey man, long time no see. Hey, how's it going? Good to be back. Yeah, I know it's been a while. We did a couple of video game streams and stuff, but I have no plans today, and I was like, well, I should give it a shot. I should try and stream. Like, I suspect it's not going to be like an every weekend thing anymore. Back at the beginning of COVID, that was a lot easier, but I should probably try and stream at least once or twice a month. ioctl is pretty much. We wish we had a ton more syscalls, isn't it? Oh yeah, basically. I mean, more or less. No pressure. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of putting the pressure on myself, Like, I'm not worried about, like, pressure from the audience or anything. Like, I know you all will support me no matter what, but it's one of those things where I feel better when I have a project and I'm working on something and working towards something. So this gives me something to do, And I picked this project in particular because this could be pretty damn simple. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, yeah, I want to add support to XSys, I think. So we should do that first. Important programmer question: Double Too Hard or Oktoberfest in this chili? Man, I know some people like IPAs in their chili and stuff, but Oktoberfest is such a good beer. Like, it's so sweet. Like, I guess it probably depends what you're going for. If you're going for like a spicy, like more of a spicy, like intense, like maybe the Double Too Hearted. But I tend to prefer like a more like rich, hearty chili. So I think I would go Oktoberfest personally. But you could do either way. XSys. So we need to add support to XSys for this Watchdog stuff or whatever's not in there. I guess let's find out. XSys. Sold. Nice. Right, so nothing here about Watchdog. Okay, so we're gonna need to add the Watchdog info structure, WDIO. Set pre-timeout, set timeout, boot status. Okay, so we have the ioctl magic numbers already. I was using some of them in my code, so I guess that makes sense. What about the flags? WDIOF? So I think we're going to have to add the flags and the structure for... Let's see here. So WDIOF, we're going to need to add all these flags, and we're going to need the Watchdog info structure, and then we're going to wrap this in a nice type-safe helper too. So let's give that a go. It has been a little bit since I've done the XSys stuff, but it should be fun. So I can never remember which file, honestly. Types? So I think this is where we define structs that we want to generate. So I need to go in here. Let's see here. Watchdog. Let's see here. Watchdog API. Watchdog API. So we're going to need to add some constants as well. But depending on whether or not they're an enum or constants, I think changes the way we generate them. So first of all, we're going to need Watchdog Info, right? Isn't that what it's called? Oh boy, this is going to be. I haven't run this code generator in a while, and I suspect it's going to need to pull a bunch of changes. This might take a little bit. I guess we'll see. Watchdog_info. Okay. So let's just run the code generator to start and see what needs to be changed. Now, if I remember correctly, we cd into Unix, Linux. Nope. I could have sworn you had to specify these manually. I'm not really sure why, because this is my system settings anyway, but go run make all that go. Is that right? Here we go. Make all that sh. Make all that sh. And I think this is going to do some Docker magic. There we go. Yeah, okay. So we're going to need to pull some Docker layers, probably do all the Ubuntu 2004 LTS. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit. Okay, I'm glad I started this now. Anyway, let's add some more stuff. So we need to go to the kernel headers, actually, and figure out where this stuff lives. So let's see here. These flags, probably going to get the Elixir thing. Yeah, I like this tool a lot. This Elixir used to be called LXR, I think. I love this stuff. UAPI, Linux, Watchdog. Okay, cool. So these are all defines. So these are preprocessor defines. As a result, I think we don't need to specify them manually. I'm pretty sure we can just specify this prefix, the WDIOF. There's also the status stuff. So IOF, IOS. Okay, let's see where this is defined. So WDIOC. -r WDIOC underscore. There's probably some place where these are all added. Yeah, make errors. Okay, so it's coming back to me now. So we have this shell script that kind of does like some regex magic to figure out what is available. WDIOC. So it's fetching all the WDIOC values and it's putting them in the code. We also want to fetch the IO. We want to fetch IOC, F, and S, right? IOC, IOF, IOS, FS. Okay, cool. So we can just regex this a little bit. So WCFS, right? I'm actually pretty bad at regex, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Anyway, yes, this is still. It's got to like clone the Linux kernel source and glibc and all this other stuff, so it just takes a little bit to get going. But once we do this once, this is gonna be up to date. And actually, I wonder if I did this in time where it might actually generate both sets automatically for me, so I might not need to do any more work or generate them twice. I guess we'll find out. Is there anything else we care about? So these are all the values. We've got the bit flags, the status values, the struct. U8, U32, U32. Yeah, so beforehand I was able to do this. Like I was able to define this manually in my Go code. Let's see here, Watchdog. So I defined the structure here that was the manual memory layout of the structure the kernel expects, but in doing this, like it's possible that future fields would be added and I wouldn't necessarily know about it, so that would be bad. So it's actually better to put these things in xsys instead of like doing it yourself. Like it just saves you a lot of effort. And also, if any of the structures have different sizes across different architectures, xsys will also account for that, which is really nice. So basically, this Docker container is fetching a bunch of like cross-compilation magic that should pretty much fix things up for us nice. So, oops, there we go. Okay, so we're generating the 386 stuff. So pretty soon here, we should see a git diff with the new constants, assuming I got it right, which I think I did. And then we just have to wait for it to run through all the different architectures. But like I said, thankfully all the Docker setup and like the apt packages stuff is all like a one-time thing. So whenever it says 386 generated successfully, we're going to go ahead and check the diff, and then we can see what we did. CFS works. CFS is more concise. Oh, yeah, I guess that's a good point. I'm pretty bad at regex. I suppose I could change it, but... Hey, Taryn, welcome back. Thank you to help with coffee. Heck yeah, coffee's the best. I appreciate the sub. Thank you so much. Did it work? It deleted a bunch of... Oh, it didn't delete a bunch of stuff. It reformatted it. Okay. WDIO... Let's see here. That's more changes than I would have expected. What's going on? Is my tree out of date? Z errors Linux 386. The diff is only accurate after everything is finished. Oh, that's right. Isn't there like a deduplication process now? I forgot. So that's a thank you, Flo, for that. So at least at one point, it would duplicate constants throughout every file. But I think now there is a deduplication process to finish. So anything that's the same on every platform will be deduped out. So I can't look at it in the intermediate anymore. So we just have to wait. So it's only got to go through like what, like 7 more architectures. What are you gonna do? Anyway, what can we do in the meantime? So also -W, ignore all space on your diff. Oh, that's a good point. I should do that. Did you run into this earlier today? What is that? This is my first time like programming today, so I haven't seen any of the new CLs. Perf constants. Oh no, I did not see this. So does this add a bunch of new perf constants? Gotcha. This looks, I mean, it looks reasonable. The problem is, like, since the diff is like a little, doesn't Garrett have an option to show the, or remove the white space as well or something? But since there's a few, since things are being shuffled around a little bit, it's a little harder to see. It looks like these were probably written manually before, and now you generated them with a Perl script here. Perl, of course. Perf sample. I mean, this looks correct. So IOC flag group. It's written manually before it needs Perl. Good call. Yeah, generating stuff like this whenever you can is good. So flag group. Is this deduped now? Yeah, okay. So instead of being manually, it's now generated with a Perl script that's all in there. Yeah, I mean, it seems good to me. So I'll go ahead and run the tribots on this and stuff too. Oh, I'm not signed in here. Let me do this in another window really quick where I'm signed in because I'm on my guest account right now. The perf constants. Yep. Seems good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and run tribots. And I'll give it a +2. Okay. So it'll take the tribots a little bit to run and stuff, but this seems fine to me. So we will see. We will see. Thank you for the CL. Oh yeah, no worries. I mean, we're waiting anyway. Like it's still working through MIPS, so we've got at least S390X and RISC-V to go. S390X RISC-V. Is there Spark in here too? PPC64. Yeah. It's been a little bit since I've done this. Ability to run tribots. Anybody, so pretty much if you've ever contributed, like, if you contribute like 2 or 3 patches, like I will vouch for you to get tribots. Like it's not that big of a deal. The thing is that the tribot stuff is not given automatically because they don't want to give people access to run like arbitrary code. Like you upload some obviously malicious patch and then run it on the tribots, and like in theory the environments are ephemeral and stuff, but they don't want to take any chances, right? So if you have contributed it a few times and show that you're a trustworthy person, you'll get tribots pretty easily. As far as getting +2, that takes longer. So I've got +2 because I have been contributing for a long time, but they'll give tribots out pretty easily if you're contributing. So if you've got a few CLs you've done, I'd be happy to vouch for you. Let's see here. Failed on NetBSD. That doesn't seem, it seems like a flap. Yeah, this is a flappy test, it looks like. I don't know anything about NetBSD, so this could be just an intermittent flap. I don't think your changes it at all, so it's a nuisance. Anyway, let's see. RISC-V, yep, still going. It kind of stinks you have to wait till the end now, because beforehand you could just look at like one of these. Command star, run a hidden spam botnet on the GoCL builders. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you could do something really silly like add a for loop to like add an infinite for loop to like some code and then just spin all the builders for however long until they time out. So like that's not a clearly not a nice thing to do. So but I mean, clearly your code is just modifying some constants, so it's not that big of a deal. But where outside of Google do people use the term CL? I've never heard it in the wild before. So people use, at least on Garrett, like CL is the term here. Like I think it's a Garrett-ism. So like I'll say PR when I'm working on GitHub, but on Garrett I always say CL. Yeah. CL is a Garrett term. Nice. Oh hey Dimitri, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Yeah, Dimitri would know more about the requirements for things like trybytes and +2 and stuff. He would probably have more information than me, but you have two contributions. One was adding Godoc example, the other was fixing a bug in net HTTP. Yeah, I mean you're probably okay to get trybots. Like if you contribute anymore, so you're probably just fine. Is it not a term from whatever ancient VCS Google used at some point? I cannot speak to that. So Garrett is more or less the open source version of Google's internal tool. Gotcha, that makes sense. Okay, see, so now it does the generating, the merging generated files part. So now we have, yeah, fs. Okay, so the struct watchdog info. So this failed. Oh, I think I forgot to import the header. What you already said was good. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think there was a super formal process around trybots at least, but I forgot something really silly here, so I gotta go back to my sys code. I know exactly what I did though. I need to import the watchdog header in this file. Include Linux watchdog. And then run the code generator again. And I guess since Dominic suggested the regex change, I should probably do that, huh? CFS. Okay. Now we run it again. You kids are usable, Garrett. In my day, we had to enter Rietveld. Yeah, I actually never... I think I started contributing to Go, like, literally right after the migration. Like, I was getting ready to kind of ramp up with Rietveld, but I think I started contributing just after the Garrett migration. Because, like, I've actually never... Have I ever used Mercurial? I don't think so. I'm not sure I've ever run an HD command except maybe once just to, like, check if the binary was installed or something. So... Anyway, we got to run this again. So the problem was I added this watchdog info struct, c.struct underscore watchdog info. So this is a syntax that will say this type is going to be generated with this struct definition. But the problem is that since I didn't import the C header, it just spat out an empty struct instead. So I had to add Linux watchdog.h, and that should do it. I'm pretty sure that's the header name, right? UAPI Linux watchdog. Yep, it is. It was awful. Sounds about right. What would you say is a good way to start contributing to Go? I would check out the issue tracker. There might be some easy stuff for things like, adding tests, adding docs, adding examples. Start with something like that. So the one thing with Go is, the one way you don't want to get started is never send code without like opening an issue and having a discussion first, unless it's something like very trivial, like a typo. So for example, like, admittedly, some of my earliest stuff too, I was like, oh, this function's useful for me, so put it in the standard library. And people do that all the time, right? But that is not how the standard library process works. So it really is best to check the issue tracker. And if you're not sure, just ask. It's not a problem, Your old job was Mercurial. It's where I learned to only ever use patch queues. I'm not even familiar with what that is, but thank you for streaming. It's fun to see some Go streams. Well, you're welcome. Happy to do it. You started watching streams in the background while working a lot more since work from home. Yeah, totally. I do the same thing. So during the week, I usually watch video game streamers. But yeah, it's fun to watch programming streams for sure. Large Databank is a great programming stream. I believe he's going to be... he's a Go programming stream. I think he's going to be on later today. So check out Large Databank for sure. I think we're going to send him a raid too. By the way, is my mic out okay? Because I upgraded to the OBS 26, and I actually changed the filter to be the new fancy magic machine learning one or something. So I'm not sure if it's basically like the open source version of like RTX voice, but yep, sounds fine to me. Cool. So the nice thing is, since we're getting to fall time here in Michigan, I don't need the AC on anymore, and the AC is really loud. The heat is a lot quieter by comparison, so should be just fine for the rest of the season, I think. Great to see an MDL stream, Pog. Yeah, Pog champ. Good to be back. Shout out large data bank. Welp. Is that a Nightbot command I can configure? But yes, large __ data bank. Yeah, he's great. Check him out. Yeah, it's kind of funny because I think it was February or March, before I even started streaming, I bought this ridiculous mic audio interface setup, and it's like I knew this was overkill, and like especially for Zoom calls and stuff, but I figured that since I'm working from home full time, I might as well have good gear. And I think my entire mic setup cost like $300. And then I've got friends buying the Shure SM7B, which is like a $400 microphone. So on top of the microphone, you got to buy the stand, the cables, the interface. Like, it's pretty wild. So I suspect I'll never need to upgrade from my, what is this, SM? I was not sure. It's an Audio Technica AT. I want to say AT150. No, it's not true. What is it? Let's check my blog. There.com. I actually forgot the model. I'm surprised. Yeah, so I did a blog a few months ago, mdlayer.com, about my setup. So AT2035. Okay, yeah, I would not have remembered that. Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 works just fine on Linux. Yeah, pretty cool. SM7B is overkill for Zoom meetings. Yes, for sure. You don't even like talking to people and you bought 3 mics and an audio interface. Yeah. I'm on meetings most days of the week. The SM57 is a classic, great for instrument recording too. Yeah, for sure. I think the SM57 is what I was using in school for a little bit with some of my projects, but I think in this case, like I was looking for recommendations on Twitter, and a couple people said the AT2035 was just fine for what I do. So I do play bass guitar as well, but I haven't actually plugged that into the interface yet. I'm pretty rusty at bass anyway, so it would take a while. So apologies for the delay. This should be done pretty quick, hopefully. We changed this. We've got the header now. So pretty quick here, we'll have a CL we can upload. Let's see. So one tribot failed. Let's see here. I will leave a comment on that. One sec. Not sure what's up with the NetBSD flap, but not sure what's up with the NetBSD flap, but the change seems fine to me. We'll let Tobias, or we'll let someone else take another look just in case. So Florian, your CL should be merged probably today or tomorrow. I assume Tobias at least usually checks these pretty frequently, so he should be around, I think. Beta 87A. I'm not even familiar with that one. Let's see here. AirPods are the new standard for Zoom meetings anyway. Yeah, the problem with AirPods is that people don't charge them or they fall out of their ears and stuff. Like, I mean, for me, AirPods seem like hellish. Like, I hate earbuds as is, let alone little wireless ones that I could lose super easily or they fall out of my ears. So, like, no thanks. Sennheiser HD650 is my game, you know. You looked into it. You can't explain why NetBSD is failing for a change on Linux. Yeah, I'm sure it's probably a temporary flap or something, or maybe it's a known issue, but I would just rather let Tobias take a look because he is a lot more involved with this repo in general. Almost done. You're waiting for implantable AirPods. Yeah, that'd be an interesting kind of thing. Although with how horrible like Bluetooth is, like I don't know if I'd want a Bluetooth chipset in my head. It was a good moment for you to see MDLayer Netlink and Tailscale's Go mod. Yeah, Tailscale is using my Netlink library to watch for link state changes in route Netlink. So mine and I think Jay Simonetti, I think they might be using a little bit of his as well. I'm not exactly sure. His wrapper on top of mine. But yep, it's there. It's in Tailscale. It's pretty cool. Merging. Okay, so this should work now, and I'll show you all the diff. Let's see. There we go. So Watchdog Info, options, version, identity, we're done. Good stuff. So Oh, it's been a while. I don't even think I have the alias to set up. Go. Let's change branches first. MDL Watchdog. Yes, Tailscale is super dope for sure. Very cool product. Get code review change. Okay. Unix. Unix, yeah. And Linux. Watchdog. Structures. And missing constants. And there's probably no issue open here. So again, of course I said if you're going to contribute to Go, you should open an issue. For something like this in XSys, like this is like, we kind of add these things on an as needed basis. Like if somebody needs this, they can add it. It's not really a big deal. But if this were trying to go into like the standard library, that'd be a different story. So the X repos, it's a little more lax, but still you should probably open an issue if you want to make like a dramatic API change or something. Actually, while we're at it, I forgot. I wanted to do one more thing. So instead of us having to do the ioctaling manually with the Watchdog Info structure, we should add a helper for that. So let's see here. Func ioctal get int ioctal.go. Okay. Yeah, we should add a helper. So, oh, these are on different Linux. I see. So this would be a Linux specific one. So I think we want to put this somewhere else. Func ioctal syscall Linux. Okay, cool. So basically, we're going to add a type-safe wrapper that contains the unsafe operations to the smallest possible surface. That way, the caller does not have to do it themselves and pass unsafe pointer to a struct because it's just easy to get wrong, you know. Func ioctal get RTC. Yeah, okay, so it looks like this area. File clone, dedupe. ioctal get RCT time. So something like this. WK, wake alarm, ioctal get watchdog info, right? The build dashboard doesn't show any other NetBSD9 AMD 64 failures. Gotcha. An undervalued way to contribute to Go is to find an issue that needs investigation, i.e. there's a problem and no understanding of the root cause, figuring it out and posting a comment. Yes, that's very true. So it's important to know that like contributing to the Go project doesn't necessarily mean like just writing code. Like, of course, that's kind of what comes to mind, but it's like there are many, many useful ways you can contribute, or just like going on the issue tracker. And if somebody, you know, if somebody's posting something you think is like obviously like just kind of a usage question or user error, you know, let them know politely. Do your best to redirect them to the appropriate forum. And that just makes things easier for everybody if folks do a little bit of investigative work. So it's getting to the point now where, you know, the number of issues is no longer like decreasing. It's constantly like 5,000 plus, like, and growing more and more every day. So we just need more help to work on these things, you know. So certainly there is a lot of value in doing non-code contributions as well. So Watchdog Info. So basically we are making a type-safe wrapper over this raw ioctal call. So unsafe pointer to the address of the Watchdog Info structure. And this is going to be, what's the call for that? I think I have that in my other code, actually. IOC gets support. Right? Sys. Okay. ioctal gets watchdog info. So now we have like effectively a type-safe wrapper here, so the caller doesn't have to import unsafe, which is good. Cloud Cappuccino, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Should I feel like some of these are documented and some are not, but I feel like I should try and set a good pattern here and document changes I add. So ioctal get watchdog info fetches. Let's see here. Get support, is available to ask the device what the device can do. So what types of operations the device supports. Fetches information about a watchdog device from the Linux watchdog API. For more information, see And see, I feel like this is a pretty good comment, and this way people can go take a look at this and realize, like, oh, well, if I want to use this, I should take a look at this doc as well. Is this the real Dimitri Pog? Yes, it is. Thanks, Dimitri, for hanging out. I appreciate it. Is this call? Yeah, let's add this as well. This is a good thing to do. So code review change. This CL also adds a type safe wrapper, ioctl get watchdog info, that makes use of the new watchdog info structure. Generated new structure. Hit me. Cool. Git code review mail. Right. Actually, I'm pretty sure they just changed something, so I was supposed to add a flag for like trust or something on there as well. I always forget. I'm a little rusty. Anyway, I'm gonna go look at my own CL and start the try bots and stuff. Let's see here. So now we have a CL. I need to go to my authenticated browser window because I don't really want to bother signing into my Google account on the guest thing. Let's see here. So let's see here. Start try bots. I will tag Brad, Ian, and Tobias as reviewers because they are often looking at this. And refresh. Okay, cool. So for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and use my local branch instead of the, because the upstream xsys doesn't have this info yet. But that's okay. Go modules makes this pretty easy. So I believe we're done making changes here. So fd get support. Yeah, this is correct. And this is one of those things where it'd be kind of nice to write a test for this, but realistically, we can't expect the testing environment to have a dev watchdog. So, zero to here, dev. Thank you for the follow. I apologize for missing that. I don't know if I didn't see the alert or what, but weird. Anyway, thank you. Welcome. I believe we're done with xsys for the time being, so let's close that out. And now I'll go back to our code here. So, replace golang.org xsys with source.org. We're going to use my local tree really quick. Close this. Close this. Okay. Go build. Right. So I should be able to get rid of all of these raw ioctls, I would think. I probably should have added something for the keep alive. Oh, you were millisecond synced and follow with the other pal. Did not play the animation on mine, I guess. Oh, weird. Yeah. Streamlabs alerts are kind of strange sometimes, but welcome. Thank you for following. I should probably add a keep alive change as well. So let's go back to xsys. I guess, it would just be keep alive with no arguments, right? Huh. Hope you post the video on YouTube in case it's removed from Twitch after a couple of days. Yes, all of my coding streams I do post on YouTube. So you go to social right there. Yeah, I think once I get 100 subscribers, I can change my YouTube channel title to MD Layer as well. It's driving me nuts that it's not. So go subscribe to my YouTube, please. But yes, I post all my old programming streams there because also folks can watch at their own pace. They can watch at 2x. I know I talk kind of fast, but I know some people can interpret very, very quick speech. So let's swap out just a couple parts of this to start. So open the device. We're going to need an ioctl for this as well. So sell out. Yeah, exactly. But I feel like I really should make a wrapper for keep alive too. That seems to be the smart thing to do, I guess. So source golang.org xsys. Damien has already finished watching the stream. That's how fast he listens. Yes. Damien's skills are mind-blowing to me. I think he watches videos at like 2.75 times usually. Like, I can't get past like, I can't go any faster than like 1.5x usually. Like, I know I talk faster than most people, I think. So maybe for me, You don't have to watch it 2x, but yeah. What is this? Iactl file clone. This comment is slightly wrong, so Golan's is complaining here. Anyway, let's add something else here. So Iactl write int set RCT sign time. You often go 2.5 or 3x. Yeah, I mean, some folks can do that. I have a hard time personally at that speed, but let's add another one. So Iactl Watchdog keep alive issues a keep alive. Also, hi Matt. Hey, welcome. Good to see you here. You have podcasts at 2.9x. That's fast. Videos usually no more than 2x. Gotcha. Watchdog keep alive. I guess I'm not sure how I want to name this, but this is, let's see here. It will take no arguments, just a file descriptor, and the code that does it is this right here. So the cool thing about contributing this back up to xsys2 is if anybody else wants to do any weird Watchdog stuff, they're able to use these types as well. So of course I could leave these shims in my own application, but it really is better and easier just to put them upstream. So Iactl fd keep alive 0. I guess there's just no argument. That's that, I suppose. So return. Issues a keep alive Iactl to a, oops, almost knocked my trackball off my stand. To a Watchdog device. For more information, see. And again, we'll link this as well because it's probably just useful. So I'm going to go ahead and update my CL with this as well. Iactl Watchdog keep alive. There we go. Watchdog keep alive. I mean, to me, this seems like a pretty reasonable change as well, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of silly, but the reality is like we don't export this Iactl function because it's very, very easy to misuse. And in doing so, we are making it so that you now pass a file descriptor and it returns an error, and you don't have to care about unsafe or constants or anything else. So this seems like a good idea to me. Git code review change. Adds the type safe wrappers. Iactl get Watchdog Info. And Iactl Watchdog keep alive around the raw Iactl interface. Seems fine. Iactl Watchdog keep alive. Iactl get Watchdog Info. Got git code review. At one point, I had the aliases set up, so this was easier, but I haven't done that in a long time. No files changed. Oops. Forgot to add it. Git code review change. Let's see here. Mail. Okay, there we go. Depends on the speed of the material, but generally most content on 2x, although in general for good comprehension, I do switch to lower speeds. Good evening, by the way. Hey, good evening. Welcome, welcome. A lot of folks hanging out today. I appreciate it. Did I upload an empty patch set? Got to run the tribots again. Actually, hang on a sec. Yes, I did have to run the tribots again. I know there is a flag with git code review mail to do that. I frankly just always forget about it. And actually, I'm pretty sure my git code review is way out of date anyway. So, yeah, cool. Okay, so now with those changes made, we can actually get rid of all of our raw wrappers, which is cool. So, if error Unix Watchdog keep alive. Iactl Watchdog keep alive, I think. FD, right? Fail. Failed to keep alive. So, is this build now? Can I use FFD as integer? Yeah. That's okay. Go build. Sweet. Watchdog keep alive, and then Watchdog get Watchdog info, right? So, info error Unix ioctl get Watchdog info FFD get Watchdog info, and this integer seconds int. I'm pretty sure seconds error ioctl get int, right? Oh, spelled it wrong. It's kind of funny. I feel like ever since I've been taking my programming break a little bit, I've become like a little sloppy with my software development, and I don't like it. Like just weird typos or forgetting like basic syntax things or commands. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of in a funk. FFD gets timeout. Is that gonna? I have to get int. Oh, right. You had specified the request. Right. Okay. I was gonna say that's not quite right. I have to specify the actual command of what I'm trying to fetch as well. So the file descriptor is the one from the ioctl device, and then the request. Yep. Okay. So failed to get time left. Okay. So now we've removed all of our manual shims, and this should work. And now we're getting to the point where we're going to start rebooting my server if I'm not careful, so should be pretty entertaining for all of you. Happens to me whenever I switch to a language, particularly after too much JavaScript. Yeah, totally. I kind of wanted to do a Rust project recently, but I realized that like I basically need to read a Rust book again to like get back up to speed with it. 1 week is enough to forget basic syntax. Yeah, totally. All right, let's give this a go. There we go. So it's working. We can see that there is 1 minute left on the Watchdog timer, and the identity is the SP5100 TCO timer. So now the problem we're going to run into, dmessage tail-n1. Oh, systemd journal. Great. Oh, wait a sec. So something I was doing before didn't seem to work. So if you specify this magic, like write this byte V, it will actually turn off the Watchdog. So let's try this again. So I'm going to run this again. This is now opening and probing the Watchdog device, and we're not going to shut it down gracefully. So Watchdog did not stop. This means our system is going to imminently reboot. So let's add that disable command again. So this will disarm the Watchdog. So every time we ping this, we're extending that timeout. But I guess I could remove this down to like 3 iterations instead of like 10, So I'm pretty sure we stopped at that time, but I guess we'll find out, huh? Yeah, cool systemd. Journal corrupted or uncleanly shut down. I appreciate that. Oops. Anyway, seems to work. Good stuff. So now we're getting to the point where we can start building kind of like a type safe and good API around this sort of thing. So I guess I would assume other platforms have Watchdog support as well. If the stream stops, we'll know why. Actually, this is my server. So this is no longer in the critical path. So my options were doing it on the router, which would have been a bad idea. I'm not sure if my desktop supports it, but my server does. So we're doing it on the server. So I might lose like a couple minutes of Prometheus metrics, I guess. We are at the point now where we can start building a library around this. So we're going to do that. So this is going to go into this folder, main.go. Hey, by the way, I'm sure you all saw the thing on Twitter. I use a mouse when I'm editing text, so I am not a senior engineer, just so you know. Such a bad take. Don't gatekeep. It's not a good look for anybody. Like, if you're one of those people, like you're welcome to have opinions, and yeah, if you can state them in a polite way, I understand. But if you're gatekeeping just to gatekeep, it's just being a jerk. But You were so glad to see Russ Cox reply to that, Acme and all. Yeah, totally. Acme needs a lot of mouse stuff, doesn't it? Yeah, watching Russ said say that him and Rob Pike were clearly junior engineers was pretty funny. It's the reason I scrapped an existing Elixir project and started doing it in Rust. 2 languages is plenty to keep in my memory. Adding in another one might be too much. Although learning the new paradigm was fun and enlightening. Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, I find that it takes me like a few days to context switch sometimes. Like, if I was doing a Rust project pretty heavily, like I will constantly forget semicolons or the syntax, or I'll start writing like Go multiple return value stuff. Like, you just forget the little things, right? Like, I don't work with both every single day, so it's hard. So what I was saying before is I suspect other OSs have their own syscall stuff for dealing with this. So we're going to make a cross-platform package, hopefully. Excuse me. But to start with, it won't support any languages, any non-Linux operating systems. Mount is a powerful tool. To not use a powerful tool at your disposal is foolish. Yes, for sure. You're adding a keyboard layer to control the mouse. Oh boy. Watchdog. So, Watchdog device, I guess. Type device struct. Mouse is powerful tool. Okay, mount. Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't sure if that was like if mount was like if you heard like the Linux command, I was like maybe I understand, but yes, the mouse is absolutely a powerful tool. Package Watchdog implements control of hardware. Watchdog devices. So we have a device. So func open iterate devices, Watchdog devices. So I guess in theory, which OS, something in one of my systems, hang on, list dev Watchdog. Yeah, see, so there's dev Watchdog and dev Watchdog 0, and I actually don't know what the difference is, but as far as I know, you'd always want this one. So Matt is a big fan of nodding and smiling and pretending he understood you. I mean, the thing is like when you're streaming, like it's sometimes hard for me to catch all the context. So if I think I understand the point you're trying to make, I'll just move on versus like prodding about it because I'm just thinking about other stuff, you know. But yeah, you're right. It's actually a bad habit of mine, so I should do better. Open. Huh. I guess for the time being, we're not going to accept any arguments because I frankly don't understand the circumstances in which you would select one over the other. So, and this is where we're going to need to go into OS specific code. Let's see here, open. Mouse lovers just haven't embraced the greatness of i3. Yeah, totally. Open opens the primary Watchdog device on this system. If the device is not found, it's not found, an error compatible with error. How do you, ever since the Go errors is stuff, like how do you write good docs for this? Do I say errors is error OS error not exist? Will be returned. Like, is that a good doc? Like, do you actually write out the code like that, or do you just say OS error not exist? Because it used to be like you type like OS is not exist. I actually don't know the conventions now, but that'll work for now, I guess. And we need to start writing Linux specific code as well. Watchdog. Fucking beats me. Yeah, totally. Fair enough. Let's open dev Watchdog. Error. So the possible errors here are is not exist for the file and then permission denied, I guess. So do info ioctl return device nil. So the device needs to have an OS file handle. I mean, I guess like in theory, the other operating systems might handle this in a totally different way, but because we can get away with it right now, we're going to put the OS file directly in here because we won't need to worry about compilation errors because OS file is a cross-platform API. So. And for the time being, The device close. Error. So I guess what this is going to be, we're going to need two APIs here. We're going to need close, which is the ungraceful shutdown, and then probably shutdown, which is the graceful one. So to do, write to file to gracefully stop. Or maybe instead of shutdown, so this is a Go convention, right? We have close, which is like more so like forcibly, and we have shutdown for things like HTTP servers where you want to like stop it in a more graceful way. So maybe instead of shutdown, I call this stop because you're stopping the Watchdog device from firing, or disarm, but I feel like that'd be such a weird syntax. Anyway, so roughly something like this. Let's open dev watchdog, and now we're going to do the ioctl on it, so we need to info error Unix ioctl get watchdog info. So now we have things like the features it supports. How did this work? Let's see. Okay, nobody's looked. No big deal, though. Anyway, keep going the wrong direction. My bad. Let's see. So we have the info now. We can return the identity of the device, among other things. So that would be something we return probably as an exported field within the structure. So like identity, string, maybe name. Maybe name is more reasonable, but let's see here. The options, the firmware, and the identity. I guess we'll stick with the terms exposed by the... I keep going the wrong way. Exposed by the API. So just to start, we'll do the identity. So we open the Watchdog device, and then identity, info, identity. And this is a byte slice, or it's a byte array. We need to slice it, and then trim all of the trailing nulls. So strings trim right. Not trim suffix, trim right. From the stringified info identity slice, and trim all of the trailing null bytes. I do believe that's correct. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. So now that we're exporting, you probably call the method close in line with how the Linux docs talk about closing the Watchdog FD. So you mean the graceful one should be called close? I guess the question is here is, do I provide an opportunity to... If I have a close method, should it always gracefully close? And should it assume that any other termination would be like a system lock or something? Because I guess in the context that you're using this, if you call close, you almost certainly would want an intentional shutdown, which would mean that you would want the graceful shutdown and not the forced one. So perhaps we always want to try the graceful approach. Is that what you're implying as well? Because I think that makes sense to me. Watchdog open. Watchdog. Oh, can you rephrase that? Are you saying the method should cause the system to reboot? No. So I guess what I'm saying here is, if you were to ever call close on this device, I guess that would seem to imply to me that you want to disarm the Watchdog, right? Because like otherwise, the typical use case for this is a daemon that starts and runs literally forever, and when it stops, like it won't issue the close call. So I guess the idea is here is instead of exposing two APIs, maybe this is closed and it always tries a graceful close, and there is no ungraceful one, right? So the only close method I support is the graceful one. So there's no way for you to close the Watchdog device without trying to disarm it as well. I think this is actually correct, but I don't know for sure. That makes sense to you? Okay, cool. Hey, Bram, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I think this is right. If you want to reboot, keep it up and don't ping it. Yep, exactly. Exactly. The device. So now the method for keeping it alive, I guess, do I call it ping? Like, ping seems to be pretty typical, but maybe in Watchdog parlance, it would be keep alive instead. I mean, feed. Nice. I'm not sure if that's I guess I'd want to stick with the proper terminology if possible. So Linux calls it pinging the Watchdog. Okay, so ping probably seems reasonable. Yeah, stop pinging the Watchdog. Okay, so I think ping is the term here. Return the ping. This will be an OS specific call as well. Return Unix ioctl get ioctl watchdog keep alive dffd dffd. Yikes. Okay. Not declared by package Unix. I'm pretty sure it is though. I'm gonna go ahead and, since we are using a different Go module here, one sec. Close that out. Give Go please a chance to catch back up, I think. Let's see here. Does this build? It does. Okay, good. So ping is going to call into OS specific stuff. Open will as well. df right. Error. So this is the graceful stop, the capital letter V, magic close. But this is exclusively Linux, it looks like, at least. So attempt a magic to disarm the Watchdog device, since any call to close would be intentional. And it's unlikely the user would want a system reboot. See also reference. Let's see here. Oops. Thought I copied that. Magic close. But this is exclusively a Linux feature. I mean, maybe other OSs have this too, so maybe I should put this in the Linux code, actually. Maybe it's simplest to keep this all in. I mean, See, this is weird because like this would compile just fine on other platforms, but it wouldn't actually work. So maybe I should move this to the Linux code just in case. So D close. Let's do that. And yes, I'm shadowing the channel closing method. I suspect it's not, or the channel closing function. I guess it's not going to be a problem, you know. You're looking forward to people combining defer close and OS exit? Yeah. And DF close. Okay. Cool. Ping close, open ping close, identity. We have the features mask and such as well, but I don't really want that yet. We're going to want the get timeout stuff too. It's a method, not a function. No shadowing to be had here. Yes, actually, that's a good point. Although you can shadow built-ins, right? Like you could shadow close if you wanted to, or yeah, but wow, that was really weird. I actually had to I've been writing Go for 7 years, and I actually just had to question if close was actually a built-in. Like I haven't written channel code in like a little bit. Pretty funny. Error colon equals D ping. Failed to keep alive. We're going to move these into the code as well. For D close. Give some kind of indicator of activity here. Let's see here. So let's see. F device percent Q D identity. You could also shadow int. That would be disgusting. But yes, I guess you're probably right, huh? Okay. Disabling. That's not right. Oh, I forgot SCP. Command. Okay. Failed to open. Permission denied. Yep, correct. And if the file didn't exist, we would not see one, so. Okay. Dmessage tail -n3. Did not stop. Pretty sure that's from earlier. Did not stop. What the? Uh-oh. Why is it not stopping? Aren't we doing the right thing? This is where we might reboot the server by accident. Ping. Let's see here. Ping, close, defer, declose. Let's try a double. If error D close. We'll do the good old double defer. Log fatal F failed to disarm Watchdog. I gotta type fast. I'm literally on the clock. I think we have 1 minute. Bad filed. Did I close it already? DF. I don't see where the file descriptor would be closed. Seems like the V was not magic enough. Yeah, I guess so. Right? It says it's a bad file descriptor, but we're not closing the FD anywhere. Like, we've got the file descriptor open. It's part of the device. We're writing to it, and it's failing to write due to a bad file descriptor, but why? Like, we're not calling OS file close. I'm gonna give myself a little. I'm gonna buy myself some time here really quick. Let's do 120. Sure. So what's the deal, right? I mean, is ping closing it? I don't see why it would. It's claiming bad file descriptor. D close. Okay. So we call the device we call close, which calls into the OS specific code. So the F file descriptor is still part of the structure and not closed. DF write. How strange. So we are closing the FD, but only. So this defer, I would expect this defer to fail. Like, this would return a bad file descriptor error, but this one should not. This is first, right? I mean, this is silly, but. Oh, now we gotta wait 120 seconds. Let's see here. 3. That doesn't seem right. Is the ioctl somehow changing the state of the file descriptor where I can't close it that way? Or strace it? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, You joined late, but did you mention some interesting real-world use cases where these APIs are used? Yeah, so the idea is here is that like if you have like an embedded device that you want to make sure like, you know, given some set of circumstances, it always continues to run. Uh, if, for example, this library I'm building, if you were to run into like some kind of condition where some external, you know, some sensor was offline or something like that, you know, you think required a reboot to fix it, the idea is that if your system locked up or something and you were no longer pinging this Watchdog device, the machine will eventually reboot. So this is more so useful for like servers and embedded type stuff than like desktops, of course. But this is an API Linux has supported for quite a while. This is really strange. Operation not permitted for EPOL? That's odd. I don't think that's what we're looking at though. So we're opening the file descriptor. Oh, read only. Oh. I know exactly what the problem is. We are opening it in read-only mode and we are trying to write to the device. That is the problem. OS open file. Oh, what a pain. OS write only. What are the permissions? Like, do I not specify any? I mean, I guess 0. Yeah, I guess I'm not doing anything. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. Okay, there we go. So the problem was here is that the syscall or OS open was calling openats dev watchdog read only and close on exec, and we need to open it write only because we don't actually read data from it. We just do the ioctl stuff, which is not technically a write. Interesting that you can ping without write permissions. Yeah. I mean, it's not a write, right? But that was odd. So we're at the point now where this seems to work. So I'm gonna make it so this goes for a lot longer, so we can just keep this running as we develop. Anyway, cool. Problem solved. So it pings it every 10 seconds. It's gonna draw a dot. Sweet. Okay. Now we can work on stuff like, since the problem is now is that we've got the watchdog armed. Oh, actually, if we stop the program, or if the program exits, it will disarm the watchdog for us. So it doesn't actually matter anymore, right? I'm silly. So let's go back to the short cycles. 1, 3, CP done. So now the watchdog is disarmed. So if the server reboots, then beats me. Pretty fun, huh? Nope, don't want a new file. Don't care about the go mod. Okay. So we're getting to the point now where we should start fetching the time on the device and such, I think. So, or maybe this would be a good point to like do like the initial commit and then start adding other calls after that. So, primary watchdog device in the system, typically dev watchdog Linux TBD on other platforms. Why do you have 2D close? Oh, so in this particular case, the capital close, like this is my exported API, and all of these unexported functions and methods are calling into platform-specific code because I need to be able to do things like ioctl on these. And anytime you export, or excuse me, anytime you import syscall or xunix or xsys, you have to use build tags. So I know it's like implied by the title, but I like doing it manually anyway. So the idea is that this is my export API. I document, and any cross-platform behavior lives here, and everything else, like all the internal logic, like things specific to Linux or BSD or whatever else, these all live in these files. So right now, there's going to be no support for other OSs. So if I compile this Windows, then nothing's going to work. So I need to add stubs for those as well. A device is a hardware watchdog. Oops. Device which can be controlled. be pinged to keep the system from rebooting once the device has been opened. Entity is the name of the, like the manufacturer. I think for me it's like the manufacturer in the model, but let's see here. A string identifying the driver. Name of the Watchdog driver. An error compatible with errors is OS error not exist. I feel like I could probably omit the errors is part and just say OS error not exists, right? The device is not found error compatible with OS error not exist will be returned. There's also permissions here, so permission denied is a possible error as well, but I feel like that's, I might not need to document that one like the with the other ones, but let's see here. So pings the Watchdog device to keep the system from, keep the device from rebooting the system. Closes the handle to the Watchdog device and attempts to gracefully disarm the device, so no further ping calls are required to keep the system from rebooting. Once a device is opened, you must call ping repeatedly to keep the system from being rebooted. Call close to disarm the Watchdog device. Okay, looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I'm picky about docs. I think it's important to, like, when you're writing stuff like this, like, make sure you have good docs as well. Like, there are lots of folks who do super cool open source projects, but like if you don't actually teach people how to use it or like what the caveats are, like it's pretty hard to have adoption, you know? And not that I expect that tons of people would use this project, but I kind of like to have pride in my work and like really do my best to document things as effectively as possible. So let's see here. So to do empty layer, determine the significance. Where's your doc.go? Yeah, I mean, in this particular case, I've got it under the watchdog.go, but just the general code. Sometimes I'll do a doc.go if I have like a lot of files, but determine the significance of the dev watchdog end nodes on Linux. It appears that my machine with one device exposes both watchdog and dev watchdog 0, but one device. Okay. Immediately fetch the device's information to return as part of the return to the color. Clean up any trailing null bytes. Cool. Let's see here. Yeah, when you're writing platform or code like this, it has to be work on multiple platforms. Like, I find it often is best to have your exported API and then just have these different calls into different OS code. Like, this seems to work pretty well for me as a pattern, because like if you export these on every single platform, you've got to duplicate the docs, and that just gets really nasty really quick. So presumably, like this call would probably be like elided completely, so you'd call directly into open or something, like it'd be inlined or whatever the other magic compiler stuff is. I am not a compilers person. Let's see here. I guess I don't really need to document the internal stuff, but let's see here. Is there anything I care about? all, let's see here. So all ioctls need those high performance watchdogs. Yeah, exactly. Ioctls, system calls, and this code are reference part of the Linux Watchdog API for reference the wow. Okay. Is the default time always 60 seconds? I'm not actually sure the default. Do you want to add get timeout and set timeout? Yes, I do, actually. The problem is the thing is right now is I'm just trying to kind of like get to a point where I have my initial code and I can checkpoint this. Like I'm still waiting. I'm going to need the CL merged anyway to make this work for other people. So I just want to checkpoint what I have, get a git commit going, and then we'll get to the point where we can add other features as well. Dev Watchdog and Dev Watchdog 0 should be the same, the former being a compatible name. Interesting. So are you saying that a system, I guess the fact that there's Dev Watchdog 0 would seem to imply to me that it's possible for a system to have multiple Watchdog devices? I don't understand what the purpose of that would be, perhaps as redundancy. So do I add an argument to my open call that specifies like an index or something like index 0, index 1? Okay, that is correct. Huh. I'm just wondering. I wonder. Yeah. What do I do with that? Like, how do I expose this? Like, do other operating systems expose these things in a similar way? Do I specify an index? Do I allow a method for opening all of the devices? I mean, I guess usually what I would do is I would specify one where you get all the devices and one then by index as well. But, huh. I suppose for the time being, we can leave this as is, but let's see here. According to Darren, the Watchdog is in yes for dog 0 on open devs like a CPU mask. Yeah, I probably could. Hey, welcome. Good to see you here. Watchdog is an alias for Dev Watchdog 0 on modern machines. It's possible there could be more than one device, so we'll eventually want to support that. I think for the time being, I'm going to leave this alone just for the initial commit at least, but that's something to keep in mind. A magic close. Yep, then close the device handle. Okay. Cool. All right. This looks pretty good, I think. Open ping close. So we're gonna do the double close thing here. The Cyberman T, welcome. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. We will explicitly purposefully. Those are both words. What's the difference? Purposefully. Purposely versus purposefully. Here we go, Grammarly. Oh, get out of my way. Come on. Come on. Intentionally and on purpose. In a way that shows determination and resolve. Ah, I see. Okay, so we want purposely. I'm not an English major. You definitely prefer opening by file paths over bitmask. Yeah, I suspect that's what we'll do. We'll probably do like either like an index call or a file path, but it would depend on what the API is for other platforms too, because if other platforms don't expose this as a file, then clearly a file is not the right API, right? First example I thought of was just this list of CPUs to bind to. Right, I see. Yeah, so purposely is what we want. As far as not a native. Yeah, no worries. It's so funny because I am a native English speaker, but I still find myself messing these things up, right? So we purposely close the file to ensure that the explicit later on also disarms the device as the program exits. Otherwise, it's possible you may exit early and leave, or with a subtle error, and leave the system in a doomed state. Love it. Okay. Let's see here. So command watchdog is a demo application which shows usage of the watchdog package watchdog APIs. Cool. So it's going to ping it 3 times, 1 second apart, and then close and disarm the watchdog, and then, yeah, there we go. Easy enough. Note progress to the caller. Actually, we should move the dot first before the sleep, so we know that... There we go. Languages are hard. I fully understand people make full studies about them. I'm terrible at native language, yeah. It's kind of funny because, like, throughout high school and stuff, I was in, like, advanced English classes, and during college, I think I had to take 1 technical writing course, and I know my writing skills are generally, I think, decent, but it's amazing how rusty you become at something like that when you don't use it on a daily basis, you know? Safely disarm the device before exiting. Cool. Failed to open watchdog, failed to ping watchdog, failed to disarm watchdog. There we go. Okay, this looks pretty good. Yeah, we're still gonna have to fix that, but we can at least do a commit. We're gonna need some boilerplate stuff. I have not made a new GitHub repo in a while, so delayer watchdog. I tell you what, my typing has gotten worse, and I do not know why, and it is concerning, but that's the wrong comment, actually. TTBT, to be truthful? No, I'm not sure. I guess I'm not familiar with the acronym. I can't write my native language as I am comfortable with English. I'm missing your acronym there. My apologies. Truth to be told. Okay. I think that was new to me. I've heard the phrase before, but not the acronym. Watchdog implements control of hardware watchdog devices. MIT licensed. Always MIT. MIT for libraries, anyway. Readme, get ignore, license. Got it. As with most skills, not using them on a frequent basis makes them worse over time. Totally. My German and French have drastically decreased since I don't use them often enough. Then again, I use Dutch on a daily basis and I'm still terrible at it. Yeah. I can only imagine. You've had to work on one code base in Swedish. It was really hard, even if it's in my native language. I cannot imagine not programming in English. Like, I will occasionally see, like, some of the repositories from, like, Chinese gophers, and, like, the comments and docs and everything are all in Chinese, but there's random words in English, and of course all the keywords are English. Like, I think it would be really hard, honestly. But Swedish is quite fun to learn, though. If English is Java, Swedish is Go. Nice. Swedish is more like Rust than Go. We got a lot of folks in here. Who English is not their first language. That's pretty cool. I mean, I guess for me, like, English is my only language, really. I have, like, basic reading comprehension of Spanish. Like, I can generally read something in Spanish and understand what it's saying, but I can't speak it or write it at all. Meanwhile, German is definitely C. Like, Dutch in programming, weird variables, and so on. Oh, no. You don't see multiple watchdogs in the BSDs, but I'm not an expert on them. Cool, good to know. Thanks for looking it up for me. Is there anything worth commenting here? I don't think so, really. Just keep it alive. Cool. Like I was saying, we need to copy some template files for another repo. So what's another repo I have done recently? Conserve? Conserve's Apache. Something MIT. I'm going to take a quick break and grab some water. I will be back in just a sec. BRB. Okay, we're back. Let's see here. The benefit of being Belgian, we have 3 official languages. We need to learn them all in high school. Yikes. That sounds it sounds very hard. I guess perhaps if it's part of your curriculum though, and like I don't know. I mean, I guess I only went to, my one high school in rural Michigan, but the second language stuff was not super serious. So I guess I wonder if in like a country with like a mandated multiple official languages, like if it would be taken more seriously, Basic German, a bit more French, and then Dutch and English. Wow, you got me beat. Do North America people even bother to learn a second language in school curriculum? Yes, sometimes. So I think that most folks generally do take a language as an elective somewhere. In high school, I think I had a requirement for like at least 1 year of a foreign language, and in college, it's something I could have done as an elective as well. I did roughly, I think like 3-ish years of Spanish between middle and high school, but I never got very good at it, or I've lost most of it because I don't use it on a daily basis, North America is a big place. Spanish and French are 2 candidates for second languages in plenty of places, I reckon. Yes, exactly. French in Canada and Mexico, and Spanish in Mexico. Yes. And German is the other one, too. Like, my high school taught German as well. I did not take that course. Me, I would like to take Dutch or German high school. Only Spanish is available. Really? Yeah, French. My school did French and Spanish in middle school, and then in high school you could do German or Spanish or French. I know some of my friends over near Detroit, like those schools will teach you things like I think they had like Japanese courses and such too. It's pretty interesting. And so, for example, the east side of Michigan has a pretty high like Arabic population. So I wonder if they teach Arabic at all in school, but I frankly don't even know. Let me check my phone really quick. So 138. Okay. Not bad, not bad. I suspect we are going to stream until... I gotta go play some good old CS. Thanks a lot for streaming again. Yeah, of course. I'm just gonna be back. Have a great evening. You too. Thank you so much. I suspect we're gonna stream until about 3 today. Assuming large data bank is returning. Let's see here. Let me send him a message. Are you streaming at 3? I can throw you a raid. I think he usually streams on Sundays at 3, but he may adjust his schedule slightly from time to time, so I will ask. We need to find a repo. One of my old repos with like a license and stuff. Let's see here. What did I work on recently? Oh, I guess like my modem manager stuff would be a good bet, actually. So, oops, wrong direction again. Wow. I'm pretty terrible at keyboard shortcuts, surprisingly. Anyway, modem manager. Copy the markdown files to Watchdog, as well as the .github files. Static analysis, go 115. Static check and vet. Go 115, Linux test dash race. We don't have any tests. This is going to be really hard to test because this is a lot of weird OS specific stuff, but we can try. C'est la vie, am I right? Is that say? Is that how you pronounce that? Or is it c'est la vie? I don't even know. I didn't take French, so I have no idea. Spanish is pretty easy, I think, compared to French. But I know there's a lot of similarities, of course, but I never took French, so I guess I can't really speak. Static analysis, Linux tests. Okay, yeah, we need to write some tests for this thing somehow. So license, 2020 Matt Layer. Just say celery and call it a day. Yeah, exactly. Modem manager, change out to Watchdog. Got the good old workflow, GoDoc. I should probably start using the package go.dev badges instead, actually, but truth be told, I still haven't. I don't love Go.dev yet. I think that it is good and cool, but I'm really, really used to the old school Godoc minimalism, and I'm having a hard time adjusting. Like, for example, I sat out the whole modules versus depth thing the entire time. I just waited until there was a winner. You know. You still use Godoc.org, yeah. C'est la vie Italian? I have no idea. Like I have no idea. You're gonna embarrass me on stream because my silly American doesn't even know. Looking at macOS, multiple Watchdog timers, calling via core foundation and IO kit rather than files and dev. Yeah, okay. So definitely we don't want to expose something with like file path APIs. That's not correct. So cool. Is C'est la vie Italian? I guess it probably is. I don't know. Don't. It is French. Okay, yeah, see, I don't even know, man. Like, I can't even keep up with this stuff. Like, I do my best, but I am but a simple person. CD Watchdog. Okay. Hey, by the way, I'm just saying, we've made it an hour and 45 minutes into the stream, and I have yet to reboot the server accidentally. So, you took the bait. Yes, I did, because I had no idea. It's all good. Let's get initial commit here. So static check. Dot. Go vet. Okay. And there are no tests. Wow. This is tough though, because like in order to test these things, I am necessarily not like touching the real system. Like I had to not touch the real system, but it's always so sad when static check doesn't find anything. Yeah, I could do something really silly. So how do I? We also need to add shims for other OSs. I guess we should do that first too. So watchdog others.go. When's the new build syntax build tag syntax landing? I'm looking forward to that. Return nil OS. Let's see here. Error not implemented. Format error F. I cannot type to save my life. 117. Is this code even worth testing? It's literally only wrapping OS level functions. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, right? Does Go test run vet when there are no tests? Yes. When there are no tests. That is a good question. But I think that a regular run of vet and then the subset of vet run by Go test. I'm not sure if it runs all of the vet checks or not. I would expect that it would still run vet even if there are no tests, but I guess I'm not sure. So let's see here. So watchdog not implemented on %s. Runtime goofs. And I guess to comply with my docs, I'll make it so that it returns not exist as well. Indicates package watchdog does not support this OS. Error not implemented. Okay. 117, I think. Did I ask about something that I thought was landing, and I already forgot what question I asked you. Python has a watchdog package that has nothing to do with watchdog hardware timers. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It sounds like one of those like cutesy names somebody would use in like another language, and I don't like those. I prefer very boring. I don't actually need this, do I? Oh, I do. Actually, I actually do need a method, don't I? Ping the device. Find your device. Error not implemented. Oh, the build text syntax. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to for sure. +1 to boring library names. Yeah, it's just, it gets too hard to keep track of all the cutesy stuff. Like, I don't know. My personal opinion is that libraries and closed source applications should have as boring of names as possible. If you have an open source project that you need to like market, that's a little bit different. But for a library, like I don't want to remember what's an example. I don't want to pick on anybody is the problem, but there are various web frameworks and Go with like weird names, and it's like I feel like those don't make it necessarily obvious that it's like a web framework, right? Like if I was gonna write a web framework, it'd be called like MDL HTTP, or something. But anyway, opinions. Go Buffalo. Yeah, that's an example. I don't want to pick on anybody, but that is an example. Like it's not obvious, You're using Unicorn to run your rack-based web server, which uses Cucumber for tests. Yes, precisely. Cobra. I use it a lot, but it's not what it says. Yep. Windows. Expected package. Okay, works now. HTTP router is a great package name. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, I feel like that one's fine. It tells you exactly what it does, right? I think that I don't think you should have like marketing for a library, right? But for an application, so for example, like CoreRad is a marketing name because it's like my extensible Go core star advertising daemon thing, but my NDP package is just called NDP. It's not called like Howdy Neighbor or something like that, Static check was literally me going, I am checking things statically. Yeah, that's a great name. It's perfect. And actually it works really well as a marketing name too, I think. Cobra Kai is the new Cobra framework. Everything. Oh. Cache, command, watchdog. Status, git add, GitHub. Staged. Okay. 115. You're creating a new Go package called Howdy Neighbor and Howdy Neighbor, the British spelling. They do different things. Oh, man. See, I feel like that's the kind of thing that like people do. And like, I have never understood that. Like, I don't know. Software shouldn't have a personality. Like that's my personal opinion. It's like your software should not have a personality. Like if you have an error message in your code that says, that's weird. Like that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't help anybody. So don't do that. Well, I guess we couldn't find it. Our team of helper elves. Like that doesn't help anybody. TCP and IPX. Oh god. All right, quick little poll. Should I implement IPX on stream? It's not gonna happen. Sorry. Oh yeah, I can't commit this yet. Well, I guess I can for the time being, but CI will not pass because we're using a forked version of XSys at the moment. One should implement service discovery over SPX. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm pretty sure it's bad. Oopsie, it looks like your important data went kaput. It's in shrug. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You prefer to add personality in your code with unit tests with fun test data. Yeah, I feel like that's more okay, right? Like your test data, like if you didn't need like the names of people, you could use like your friends or like Nintendo characters or something like that's fine. But I don't think your error messages should have personality. You keep forgetting to implement IL on stream. Oh, GUID generated GitHub repo name swine. Yeah, exactly. What is, hang on a sec, github.com. Is this? My friend created this repo called Beanful Knees. I think he actually generated the name of this repo with it. Stop wasting time naming things. Names are hard. General not as important as people make them out to be. Even when they turn out to be important, they're usually pretty easy to change. So it spits out random names. And he names all of his Git projects with this. Excuse me. Yeah, like horrifying, right? No offense to your friend, but that's awful. Yeah, it's a thing. It's not me, but it's not my thing, but it's a thing. I think it might be better than calling your library Howdy Neighbor. Oops, wrong way again. Anyway, I think we're getting to the point where we can start doing commits. You do the same thing but use pet names.glitch.me. I am not familiar Freely polite gar. Huh. I think GitHub does that by default, right? Like GitHub will tell you, like, have you considered this repo name? You'd like to buy a copy to the writer of this repo? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would accept that. Send him a message. You just wrapped up your ugly Bryson project. Interesting. I have no idea what that does, but oh man, when I worked at DigitalOcean, like I had to argue time and time again that like we shouldn't be using nautical names. Like it's an internal closed source service. Like call it what it does. Like the hypervisor networking daemon should be called like HVNetD, right? And then I was just saying like I'm gonna get super mad if I get paged by something called Sea Cucumber because I have no idea what Sea Cucumber does or Poop Deck or Captain. Like, come on, you know. Oh, well, Starfish, you know, the Starfish replica's down. It's like, that doesn't tell anybody anything. It crashes done. All right, first commit. This is my first open source commit in a while, I think. Watchdog, initial commit. Ah. Personal identity. Okay. Sea Cucumber is the NBD mounter, obviously. Yes, exactly. Origin, GitHub, MD layer, Watchdog. Get remote add. Get -u origin head. Amundsen was a terrible group for names at Lyft. Let's see here. A metadata-driven application for improving the productivity of data analysts, data scientists, and engineers when interacting with data. I have no idea what that means. Oh, the Amundsen front-end library, Amundsen search library. That's... Assuming that's what you're talking about, those aren't the worst names. Like, it's long, but... You missed the amazing keyword in your readme. Yeah, you're right. Right, with all the Hacktoberfest spam. Someone should open a PR for it. You started naming physical machines after Stargate plants, but actual services have descriptive names. And if I ran a DC full of hardware, the machines would obviously be named based on location. Yes, exactly. No pet names for machines. Or for, like, servers, you know. That's them showing restraint. Really? Okay. I guess I'm pretty afraid. So this has no tests. I want to fix that. I want to figure out something. Linux test failing? Yeah, because... Let's see here. Let me check my GitHub notifications. I got subscribed to a whole mess of stuff at work, and I want to make sure that I don't display anything I shouldn't. Okay. So my static analysis workflow has failed. Yep, as to be expected because the Go module is using a local replace because I am waiting on the CL to be merged. Yep. Okay, no big deal. Stuff happens, I suppose. Anyway, so like I guess we could write like an integration test for this if we really cared. You have a pet name for when your app disconnects from Redis. We call it Redis Blue because the error spike in Grafana always shows up in blue. Yeah, I mean, that's not that bad, right? Like, but if you're using that as like a marketing term, it's maybe a little bit different, but that's not bad. I mean, like naming like some kind of like recurring coincidence at your work is probably fine, you know. But you don't call it Sea Cucumber, right? I guess, do I write an integration test for this? Like, do I open, ping, close? Like, that's the only thing I can really do. It's better than nothing, I guess. Watchdog test. Spell Linux. Turns out Melia or Melia is a terrible name for a server. People keep thinking I typoed media in my URL. Yeah, I bet. You can +1? Yeah, feel free. I mean, I'm in no rush. Like, realistically, like, if it gets merged tomorrow or Tuesday or whatever, that's fine. Like, we still got plenty of stream content today, so I don't really care. Test integration. Test integration device. Okay. The error watchdog open. error T fatal F, failed to open device. So we need to actually check different error cases here. So switch case errors is error OS error not exist. Skipping watchdog device does not exist. Let's see here. Meanwhile, works at Fastly because adding Lee adds an extra adjective. Yeah, that's actually a problem at Fastly too. People like to name their projects with Lee at the end. Like, I don't like that either. Believe me, it gets pretty old. Like, don't give things cute names. You know. This test requires the presence of specific hardware. It's highly likely to not pass on regular machines. Make sure to check the errors and skip when necessary to avoid there we go. That's good enough. Skipping is error OS error permission. Skip F. Skipping permission denied. Try running as root. Okay. And then the default failed to open. There we go. A lot of Stargate fans here. I actually haven't watched it. Let's see here. You don't understand shit of what I'm doing. You just started learning Go a few weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, it takes time, right? Like, I'm happy to explain stuff, but like ultimately, like you just all of this stuff takes time. You'll learn as you go. You know, the code here is actually very small to the point where I'm having trouble figuring out what to test. You know, which is very strange actually. Like we haven't written that much code, but that's because the syscall stuff is doing a lot of the plumbing for us. So. For the close to ensure we always disarm the watchdog and don't reboot the host. Any resources you suggest me to read? Yeah, actually, I think I have. Let's see here. So Go, yeah, check those out. So those are all good places to start. The Go Tour is a great place to get started. GoPL.io is the Go programming language book. I really like the blogs of Ben Johnson and Peter Borgin. In particular, the one I linked from Peter I think is very useful as far as avoiding things like globals. And also check out the Gopher Slack. It's a great group. Oh, excuse me. You don't need a test. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't, but I feel guilty. Excuse me. So at the very least, I'm going to do this integration test. So. Cage, thank you so much for the follow. Cage, Kahe? I'm not sure. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Watchdog, next. Double close. Oh, you came from the Gopher Slack, saw your message. Nice. Yeah, the Gopher Slack is a great group. It's a great place to ask questions, but ultimately just check out the, check out all the different, like, some of the links I posted there. I think it'll help get you started. And then if you go to the Gopher Slack with, like, more specific questions, folks are generally able to help pretty well. I think there's also a newbies channel there that could be pretty useful. Master Dead, thank you so much for the follow as well. I appreciate that. T fatal F failed to ping. So T log F device. D identity. And we'll do an explicit close to make sure we stop the watchdog as well. Failed to disarm device. Failed to disarm. Thank you for your answers and for sharing your knowledge. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why I'm here, right? Like the whole thing with like doing the Twitch streaming thing and stuff is because I wanted the chance to kind of share some of the stuff I was working on. And ultimately, like, learning and building things is more fun when you're in a community and with people. So definitely, if you're in the Gopher Slack, you're in the right place. It's a really great group of people, but ultimately it just takes time. You'll learn as you do more things. Let's see. Does this pass? Should. Given the appropriate permissions anyway. Go test dash v. Does not exist. Yeah, so it doesn't even work on my desktop. So my desktop does not have a Watchdog, or it's disabled possibly in the BIOS. I don't actually know for sure. So go test dash c and scp watchdog.test to the server. Watchdog test dash test.v. Permission denied. Device. Hey, it works. So my crappy integration test works. Apparently Peter Borgin got banned from Gopher Slack. Yes, I think he was for like a week, but I believe he's back now. There was a disagreement with the moderators over some of the language policies. And you know, I see it both ways. I understand the intent of trying to keep it a welcoming and friendly community, but I've also been called out sometimes for typing like LMAO, which I think is frankly ridiculous. Like, that's just internet language, you know? Since you like Peter's article, are you pro funk init or against? I am against. Funk init is often... The thing is with funk init is it could possibly be expensive. It is manipulating global state. I think using init is almost always the wrong choice. Like, if you need to initialize something, let your caller do it when they want to. And then in that case, like, have a specific instance of a thing and not a global. So you have no productive argument. You just like to point out the ironic pronunciation of COC or cock. How dare you use a word included in every Bible in the U.S.? Yeah, there's yeah. I'm not gonna go into it. I frankly understand. I think I understand the problem, like, from both points of view, and I don't think there is a right answer. You know. So, but I don't want to have that fight. I personally choose to, you know, keep my language clean and everything there. But of course, this stream is not a code of conduct enforced place. But just don't be a jerk. Really, that's my rule. So, all right, we got a really silly integration test. Cool. Dog initial Linux integration test. Actually, I guess this test can work on any platform, really, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway. So now we are at the point where we have to... I want to add things like the stuff that Clay has mentioned earlier, like the fetching of the timeouts and such. You're forced to singleton-like structures... See, I would think that init would force you to the singleton, right? Because init is manipulating global state, which is inherently a singleton thing. So I suspect that you could probably take whatever you're doing in init and wrap it up in a struct and pass that struct around instead. And then you would be able to test things more easily and stuff as well, too. But of course, I'm not looking at your code, so I can't tell. You don't have all the context. To me, jumping straight to a ban was much. Peter might have changed or deleted the message if they were just pinged. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have the context either. I am not a Gopher Slack admin, and there may be some here, and I don't want to like badmouth or anything, so I can't say. I love the group. I definitely really want to be there. You like the intent inclusive community. Great if he's back. Yeah, last I knew he was back, so I hope it stays that way as well. So, timeouts. I think I had some code at one point to mess with that, but just let's see here. Get support, get time left. Oops. You love all the NixOS channels. Yeah, we have like 3. Networking, Home Lab, and NixOS are all basically NixOS channels. Great to hear constructive talk. Yeah, totally. For sure. So now we want to create an API. Let's see if we can get the amount of time left from the device, I guess. I'm not actually sure if my device supports that. I feel like some of these calls it doesn't support, so we're going to find out really quick. Unix ioctl get int int ffd. Networking, Home Lab, and darn, I can't remember the third NixOS channel. Yeah. T error. Let's see if this works. SCP. Back to the regular binary and not the other one. So, okay. There we go. Sudo watchdog. Operation not supported. Yeah, so my watchdog apparently does not support getting the amount of time left. That's sad. Very sad. Get time out, get time left. So we can potentially crank down the timeout too if we wanted to, it looks like. So let's try get timeout instead, I guess. I think this one works though. You want to build a watchdog with a 0-second timeout, it restarts them while you open the file. Probably build that kernel module. Okay, there we go. This one works. So it looks like on my machine it's configured for 60 seconds, so we can expose this timeout using a method. So easy enough. Ping close device timeout. Time duration error. Turn the timeout. Timeout returns the current timeout. Let's see here. Timeout in seconds. The real timeout using the same variable. This timeout might differ from the one requested due to a limitation of the hardware. That's rough. Let's see. Oh, so based on the flags, I can see what my driver supports. I should probably look at those instead, actually. But we'll do timeout really quick anyway. Might only be different on set, right? How do you do a DB connection without global state? Yeah, so I mean, I guess you start them up in package main, and then you just pass the SQL DB and the Redis connection around, right? Like you pass them explicitly to your server, which makes it easier for you to configure an instance for production that fetches from like a config file, and then your tests, which might be like a local Docker thing or something. I think that your code will be easier to follow and understand if you do it that way. And actually, one of the articles I shared, so Medium Ben B. Johnson. Ben Johnson has some super cool patterns for doing database stuff, and I want to share those because I think they are amazing. So which one is it? I can't remember if it's applications or tests. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is actually a good article as well, so check this out. Structuring applications in Go. So for example, you pass your SQL DB to your hello handler, and then you're also able to, let's see here, this one. So you can create a database type for your application and transaction types. So as a result, you can make it so that you have your own type that you create a database transaction. You can create one or more users within the transaction and then do a thing like committing it all at once. So you're effectively creating a higher level layer on top of the SQL DB layer. And with this, you can actually have a lot of power and a lot of control over your database and kind of create your own light ORM. So I think this is an extremely cool pattern. I have not done SQL stuff in quite a while, but I always do something like this. So this is an excellent article, but really pretty much everything Ben's ever written is amazing. So he's one of my favorite people to reference as far as like what I think are good Go practices. Current timeout turns the configured timeout of the watchdog device. Let's see here. You've used exactly these patterns. You came up with them yourselves. Nice. In production with huge success. Yeah, me too, actually. Like that's it's very useful that way because like if you do something, you are literally enlightened right now. Nice. Because like if you're doing something where you have like a create user function that always opens the transaction or like opens the database handle, commits it, all that stuff, like you're missing out on a lot of power and flexibility. So doing things like having the transaction types helps a ton. And it also makes things easier to test too. So
Oh, it looks like if you load the Softdog module, you can start up the software Watchdog timer if you want to test locally, though it will trigger if a reset if it expires. Really? So there's a Softdog module, but it will also reset your machine? Interesting. More broad than Go, but I recently encountered an article that has interesting principles for software. Yeah, please share. This is like what a junior seniors talk should be. Senior should be about mice. Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean the whole thing is that like over time you learn about these things, and like I learned that those patterns like 5 years ago now, and it's like they've stuck with me this whole time, and I haven't found anything better, you know. So it's like I will keep extolling their virtues. Oh, less reliable than a hardware watchdog. Like if the kernel locks up, the soft dog won't reset. I see. So it's not like a simulator. It's actually a software watchdog, literally. Okay. That could still be kind of cool, actually, for tests. My principles for building software. Okay, I'll check this out. Thanks for the link. For when X11 freezes again. Yeah. You know, actually, well, I don't know about GitHub Actions. At least on SourceHut with CI, I'm able to load kernel modules and stuff. So I could potentially create a virtual machine and load SoftDog and do integration tests in there. If you start up a VM and test, yeah, I think KVM does have a watchdog actually. Like I actually have Vert Manager and everything set up, but I don't think I have a good VM at the moment that I can test with. Let's see. Vert Man. Windows 10, FreeBSD, Pixie, OpenBSD. Yeah, I don't have like an easy like Linux VM at the moment, I don't think. So that could be something to do as one point. I suspect in this stream, like we probably won't have time today, but maybe we can continue that another time. I'll probably go for another 45 minutes or so, depending on whether or not Large Databank starts streaming, because I'd like to watch him as well, actually. So he hasn't said anything though, so he might be busy today. It's just 5 lines of configuration.nix. Actually, I think we were talking about that somewhere. Like people were saying it would be nice to have like declarative like QEMU KVM like VM syntax with Nix, but I'm not sure that exists today. That would be cool though. Like so instead of writing all the XML crap, like you say, like I want a watchdog, I want this drive attached with this thing. That would be very cool. So you should do that. Along with static Nix, along with your window manager, along with your editor, along with your I think I have a lot of projects I want to do, but I think Dominic has more than anybody I've ever met. Device timeout. Let's see here. Yo, dog, I heard you like Nix, so I installed Nix in your Nix configured VM. Yeah, exactly. It's so meta. I would love to declare a Debian KVM and configuration.nix. Yeah, me too. That would be sick, actually. Like, I think that would be really awesome. I don't know what it would take to get there, but I love the idea. Somebody mentioned that recently on one of the IRC channels, I think, and I'm like, I want it, you know. I wonder if I could help, probably, but air Unix ioctl get int. Timeout, right? So int dffd. So sometimes what I will do with more complicated ioctl APIs is I'll actually swap out the ioctl function itself, so we can actually like populate memory using like closures and stuff. But I don't think that's really necessary here. I mean, we could. That's something I've done in some of my other projects before in the past, but I guess I'll show you all what I mean. WG control. Need to work on this again too, actually. So I think this is pretty cool. The OpenBSD code. So like ioctl WG data IO. I'm doing all kinds of like crazy stuff here. Let's see. And these are all just functions. Like these are all like, you know, closures basically. And in the real code, I call the ioctls directly, but in my tests, I have these, you know, closures that I close over and I actually populate the memory in the same way the kernel would and stuff, which is pretty cool. Like, oh, no problem. This is assigned to this group thing as if it were a pointer to an array of these things, you know. Pretty cool. Stares at the pile of projects gathering dust in the corner. Yeah, I mean, I feel that. Like, I have a hard time working on stuff I'm not gonna actually use. Like this Watchdog stuff, I think I will probably use at some point, but maybe not immediately. But as far as like starting projects that are things I'm not gonna use anymore, I really don't. Could you do ioctls with UML? If UML is what I'm thinking of, then I don't want anything to do with that monstrosity. WD ioc gets timeout. Oops, timeout. If error, return time duration s times time second. Oh, user mode Linux. Okay, I thought you were talking about like UML diagrams, and I was like, dude, no. What do you want from me? User mode Linux. I've actually never played with it, so I have no idea. I can't be the only one who assumed he was talking about UML diagrams, right? You're writing a project where you currently only have a single use case for, and it's postponed at the moment, so I have more time to write it, which is bad for my procrastination. Yeah, totally. I understand that. There's like a couple more things I want to do on Corrad. Like, it's basically done for my purposes, but there's a couple more things I want to clean up, and I just haven't been able to motivate myself to do it because it works well enough for me. But I should really tag a 0.3 stable. I just have not done that yet. So instead, you're digging into help with an OAuth Rust a buddy of mine is doing. OAuth is like one of the worst things I have. Well, worst things. One of the most complicated things I've ever seen. So best of luck. I am very afraid of OAuth. The fear is real. Timeout percent s the there the timeout fetch device timeout watchdog timeout. Let's see here, the timeout. Oops, no. If you want more work to do, I can try and use your software. It takes me around 0 minutes to find critical bugs. Yeah, you're welcome to. If you have IPv6, run Corrad for sure. It seems to work pretty well, but the RFC is fun. Real fun. Yeah, real fun. Nil? 0. There we go. Okay. Timeout 1 minute. There we go. It works. Easy. Easy mode. Easy game. What time is it? 2:18. Okay. I'm wondering how much I want to do today on this. I guess we should look into that features mask, right? I think that'd be a good idea. Supports magic close. This is good. So we could actually determine if we support magic close or not. Keep alive ping reply. Weird. Can you turn it on and off? No. Get support. This is all get set options. Oh. So I could actually configure, I could actually disable the device this way. Kernel panic on temperature trip. Is there any downside to always trying magic close? Not that I'm aware of, but I was just looking at this and like we could check the flags and like only try it if it supports it, but as far as I know, no, there'd be no downside. Maybe a spurious error, but I'm not sure. Actually, maybe we should maybe in this case we want to do this, right? If we fail to magic close, we still want to close the file descriptor anyway, but just don't report the error from it. I think that seems like a good idea. Actually, I guess I could just defer close here. Open errors. The first close and file close in the success path will report any necessary errors. DF. Yes, you are right. This would have been infinite recursion. Thanks. Don't defer. You want to return the close error if writing didn't fail. Yeah, so the thing is like, I'm just doing the double close. Like, I mean, you always feel like icky about it. Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. I guess this isn't complicated enough, but if I get to the point where this has more logic, I would move it, but DF close. Make sure the file descriptor is closed, even if magic close fails. Go explicit allows double closing. Yes, it does. Yeah. That's actually a pattern I will use a lot, just to ensure my errors are handled in like all my cases, but or if you're ever writing to a file, like you want to make sure things are actually like taken care of, like you'll do a defer close and then like an explicit close with an error check. Let's see here. Shaw, defer close. Written by a coworker of mine, which says you don't defer close on writable files, but also at the end it talks about, let's see here. So defer f close, IO write string, f sync. Oh wait, no. Yeah, Ben Johnson suggests that close may be saved to run multiple times on files like so. So you defer, you create the file, you defer closing it, write, close. Yeah. So this is explicitly, this is fine for OS file. Yeah. So as far as I know, that's good practice. That's just a fine practice. Like it'll cause a syscall error, but meh. You just like to avoid it when trivial. Yeah, that's true. If I had like a lot more writes in here, it'd make more sense to defer close. But I think in this case, you're probably right. This is the better option. So I'll do that. I can't remember who taught me Control L on stream, but I love it. Like for a long time, I would type clear manually, but Control L is amazing. Git add GA partial. What's that go? No. Split. No. Yes. Okay. Dog ensure device is closed. File is closed, even if magic close fails. It's confusing because double close the channel in Kaboom, it is almost inconsistent. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. The thing is that closing a channel can't have an error. So I think that's the big differentiator here, is like you want to be able to check for the errors. And if you're closing a channel twice, that is a clear programming error too. I see what you mean. I guess in my mind, they're slightly different things, but I understand your argument as well, I think. Let's see. We just added timeout support. Go OS. Yep. Timeout. That's why I said almost. Yeah, totally. Time duration. Okay. Missing function body. Oh, weird. There we go. Okay. This is a great article too. Yeah, totally. It's definitely one it's one I've brought up multiple times. Like whenever you're writing files, like I always do the double close pattern now because I just want to make sure that I don't leak any file descriptors in any of my paths. Because I guess in theory, like if the file is no longer reachable, eventually the finalizer could run and the GC could take care of it for you, but you don't want to count on that, is my understanding anyway. The time value is always returned in seconds. And star.go and main.go. This is going pretty well for our first stream back, I would say. We've haven't hit too many stumbling blocks this time. I guess it's good that I picked a problem that I thought was like a pretty easy, pretty small scope. This is the equivalent of me closing the door, getting in the car, and then running back to the door to make sure it's closed. Yeah. I mean, I've done that before. I'm sure you have too. I don't need to do it, but I do it anyways. Yeah. Watchdog device timeout to fetch the configured watchdog timeout. And push. And this is still going to fail CI, but bummer, huh? Thank you, Taryn, for the +1. I appreciate it. Watchdog API, Watchdog Info, CFS, 2 new ioctl wrappers. Nice, easy. Flags and status. I think it's time to look at those flags, probably. Options and version. So options is a bit mask, right? Let's see what version says for mine. I actually have no idea. Linux. Print F. X. D. So info. Options is a bit mask. And then info version. I'd expect to probably be just a regular integer. So let's find out. Oops, back. Okay. Done. Watchdog. What's this say now? I guess we'll find out in a sec here. 8180. Oh, that's hex. That's hex. Okay. So the version appears to not be filled out at all on mine. Okay. And do some hex flag stuff. Fun. So the list of features supported by the device, at least on Linux, is the firmware version of the card if available. So version 0, I guess that's probably a valid version. I would expect version 1 probably, but it's probably fine. A flags describing what the device supports. So this is a bit mask. And the options can have the following bits set. Resets due to CPU overheat. Last rebooted by the Watchdog. System fan monitored by the Watchdog. Interesting. There's a lot of stuff here. I suspect these are more like enterprise, like server hardware type things. So I guess, truth be told, my server is an AMD Ryzen 2, like, consumer gear and stuff. Like, I don't actually have like super micro fancy stuff. So I get the feeling a lot of these are not going to be available to me, but we will find out, I suppose. The Watchdog saw a keep alive ping since it was last queried. Interesting. So keep alive ping, set timeout, pre-timeout. Get status. So this is What motherboard do you have that has Watchdog? Just some Gigabyte, or no, is it Gigabyte? Yeah, some Gigabyte. Let's see here. I need to go back to sudo lshw short Gigabyte AX370 Gaming K7. But apparently the X570, X570, is that what it is? My X570 board in here, AMD. My Asus one does not have a Watchdog apparently. Either that or I've got it turned off in the BIOS. It's possible that way too. But it appears this has a Watchdog of some sort, or it's possibly embedded in the CPU. So let's see. Yo, what the fuck? My X570 doesn't have a Watchdog. Yeah, it's weird. You just built a Ryzen with a Gigabyte board. Yeah, I like Gigabyte in general. I think when I built this machine, you thought yours does. Yeah, maybe it's sporadic. I usually do buy Gigabyte. I think I bought Asus this time around because the X570 stuff was so new and the reviews were pretty all over the place for everything except for the Asus. Just shows this Watchdog. I don't think I even saw it. Grep Watchdog. So the reason I knew about it, grep. So D-message says SP5100 using this address for Watchdog MMIO. So that's where I saw it. You might have it, but it might be disabled in the BIOS. Yeah, I might have enabled it manually. I honestly don't remember. I couldn't tell you. So I want to understand this get status and get boot status. The current status and the status of the last reboot, respectively. So I can turn on or off the Watchdog timer. You can actually physically enable or you can actually enable or disable the device this way. Interesting. I don't have anything that's really cool that you do. Yeah, I mean, I it's kind of funny because like I didn't expect it to either until I was just playing with it one day. So I'm not sure. What kind of information the get status and get boot status octals can return? Okay, let's do get status. Let's find out what's in there. Check to make sure your kernel build has it enabled. Probably a good call as well. Unix WDIOC get status, right? This will give me another bitmask, I think. If error percent x status. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. 8020. Okay, so that seems to work. So get status reports something. And the flags are all of these things. You're not going to reboot to BIOS just to see. Yeah, fair enough. NMI Watchdog enabled permanently consumes one HWPMU counter. Is this it or something else? I would guess so, but frankly, I'm not really sure. Yeah, this is weird. We're getting into kind of unexplored territory for me as well. Like, I know very little about this other than just the fact that my system seems to have one. I know the Raspberry Pis have them, and I know my router does too. So I'm going to deploy this to both my Nix OS devices. So you also have the SP5100, Dominic. I think it might be part of my CPU. I'm pretty sure it might be part of the Ryzen 9, but I'm not totally sure. Watchdog hardware is disabled. So it detected it, but it shut off anyway. So it loads the module, but says the hardware is disabled, and you don't have a dev Watchdog. Gotcha. I wonder if you could send the ioctl here that would enable it. I have no idea, though. I didn't realize you could enable and disable it from within the system. I thought it was just on, and all Linux could do was keep it alive, but I guess I'm not sure. Check the BIOS next time you do a full reboot. Yeah, I can probably check the BIOS on this machine, too. Like, maybe it's in there and I just haven't noticed it, but that's a good point. You can't send an ioctl if there's no file to open. That's a very good point. True. What are the flags here? So 8020 in hex. So uh-oh. I think I just rebooted my server on myself, didn't I? Did that just happen? Yeah, I think it did. Uptime. Yep. I let my server reboot by stopping the Watchdog program. So that's once. We did it once this stream. Oh, it's so funny. I knew it was like inevitable. SP5100 support looks like it was just added to the kernel last month. Oh, you know what? I am using kernel 5.6 on my server, and then probably what's on my router? Kernel 5.4, huh? Because my desktop here is running 5.4 because that's on the series that Ubuntu 20.04 is on. My NixOS boxes, my server is running 5.6 because it has the drive temp sensors, so I don't have to do jank anymore to get my hard drive sensors. It just comes with it, which is really nice. But this is kernel 5.4, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, SP5100. And systemd is running it. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. I guess it's possible that it's either compiled out of your kernel or I don't know. Because like I guess I would expect my desktop to have this too, but I don't actually know for sure. How strange. Anyway, what are we looking at here? 8020. Okay, that's hex. Is it a kernel module? Yeah, sure, let's find out. ls mod grep spi sp5100. Yes. SP5100 TCO. You're still running 5.4 here. You mentioned 2009 will up that. Yes. Before September 40th, yeah. 2009 is taking a little bit of time for NixOS this time around, but yep, this is the same module Dominic is running apparently too. Yeah, because we're both on Ryzen 9 X570 chipsets, but I think we have different motherboards. So, what was I? 8020. So we need to look at the flags, the status here. The kernel module is not in the Ubuntu 5.4 kernel from 2004. That's so strange. I wonder why. Status. Here we go. So disable, enable, panic, keep alive, ping, WDIOS. Those are all of them, right? Unknown. Huh. So 4.7. This is strange. DIOS. So I should have the ability to enable and disable the device, but I don't actually know what that means. Disable card, enable card, temperature panic. The current status. IOC gets status flags. Oh, I think these might be these flags up here, actually, and not the status ones down here. These are options. So how about get options? Is that a thing? Get... So you cannot get options. You can only get status? Oh, sweet. So you mod probed SP5100 TCO, and now you have a dev watchdog. Need to follow along with you more closely. Nice. Cool. Yeah, so that's cool. It seems to work. Don't reboot yourself. Well, as long as you don't open the device handle, I guess it's fine. So probe SP5100 TCO. Oops. Typo there real quick. One sec. NMI Watchdog. Oh. It appears my desktop does have one as well. But yes, I should be very careful not to reboot it. So it looks like the kernel module just isn't loaded on startup for some reason on Ubuntu. Somebody mentioned the NMI Watchdog. It looks like this is a different... Oh, I'm sorry. This is down below where you all can't really see it as well. So we have that NMI Watchdog thing. I don't know what that means for sure. But then this SP5100 TCO, this is the Watchdog device I would expect. Weird. So I mod probed it, but it doesn't exist. Maybe this board doesn't have one, or maybe it is disabled. Huh. I don't know. How strange, huh? Oh, this is getting more and more interesting. The thing is like I don't actually understand the hardware here that well. Non-maskable interrupts NMI. Okay. They trigger in two ways: when the kernel reaches a halting state that can't be interrupted by another method, and by hardware using an NMI button. Interesting. Wonder if I can enable and disable the card. That'd be interesting. Get status, get boot status. These are all the flags. So 8020. Okay. Keep alive, ping, reply. 802. Card previously reset the CPU. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. It did previously reset the CPU. Supports magic close. Yeah, it didn't specify that in the flags, did it? 8020, no. Am I reading the hex wrong? Maybe. Let's do a binary dump, I guess, just in case, but get status. Binary this time. We'll do this and we'll do this. Ah. Yeah, that'll do it. Fix that really quick. Huh. 8020. So if I'm reading these flags correctly, does that seem to imply this doesn't support magic close? Because it totally does. Why is this highlighted? Oh, referenced in lots of places. Okay. Magic close. Huh. Yeah, my device certainly does support magic close though, because I was able to stop the Watchdog successfully this way, or stop the system from rebooting. But why? Why? Doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm rusty with bit math or something, but yes, and Unix WDIOF magic close. See if any bits are set there. Oh. You can't stop the Watchdog if you have Watchdog no way out in the kernel config. Yeah, I like that. I like that constant name for sure. So this seems to be claiming to me that according to the status of my device, it does not support magic close, but it definitely does because I'm able to stop this program and not crash the machine when I... Oh, speaking of which, I need to let this program run out or else my machine will reboot on me again. So these bit flags seem to be claiming to me that they don't support magic close, but clearly it does. So I wonder what the problem is here. Like, I wonder if this is just like crappy consumer hardware reporting the wrong thing or what, but let's go look at the, hang on, magic close. So SP5100 TCO, okay. Let's look at some C code on stream. Magic close. Yeah, it seems to be there. Set timeout, keep alive, ping, magic close. Doesn't it not reboot because you're closing the FD? I think the problem is that you have to specify the, well, here, dmessage. So if I run this now, like if I run this program a few times, like let it run out. Nothing happens. Like, though it doesn't say the watchdog did not stop. But if I cancel the program in the middle of a run, then we get a new message saying it did not stop. So I think the magic close might be working. Oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Since it is closing the file descriptor successfully, what's magic close for? If my system doesn't support it, will not disable the watchdog unless so if it did support magic close, I have to send it just before closing the file. But I don't understand because that C source seems to indicate it does support magic close, but the bit mask seems to indicate it does not. So we got set timeout, keep alive ping, and magic close are the options here. So set timeout 8020. Oh my god, I think I'm reading the hex wrong. So 802. Fanfault, no. What if you use get boot status instead of get status? What about endianness? That's a good question. I have no idea. Oh man, you might be right. It might be the endianness. It's reading it in the native endian of the system, right? This could be. But if it's the native endian of the system, it should be correct. Or do you think I need to put this in big endian for it to make sense for the flags? Ugh. I'm getting a little brain fried at this point. Kurchik, welcome to the stream. I appreciate it. We're having a good time here. Yeah, I would also expect the native endianness to be right. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. Can you %B? Yeah, sure. Yep. Can you do something like that work? No, it doesn't work. Yeah, the kernel should always be native endianness unless otherwise specified, right. So it shouldn't be an endianness issue, I don't think. I'm just having a hard time. Watchdog dev.c handles the magic close character. Gotcha. Well, the thing is, we're trying to understand here is like it claims that the kernel source seems to indicate my device supports this, but the flags seem to not. So I'm trying to understand what's going on here with this bit mask. $8020. Pre-timeout. 020. Kernel source version. Let's see. I am looking at 5.8.13. So the latest. I'm getting so confused. Oh, versus my machine. Yeah, I'm on 5.4, so, or no, my server's on 5.6, so it shouldn't matter. Looks like you need to set the option. So I need to enable the magic close feature. Interesting. To use the magic close feature, you must set the magic close bit in the options field of the Watchdog's info structure. Wait a minute. So You must set the field in the options. Can I set options? Yeah, I can, can't I? Set options, yeah. Huh. So my device supports magic close, but I'm not using it because I need to set the options flag with it. So, all right, we're gonna give it a try. So, options int. So WDIOF magic close Unix ioctl set int. Didn't you previously reboot your server by accident? Yes, I did. But that was because I closed the program before it could disable the watchdog by closing the file descriptor successfully. FFD. Unix WD IOC set options. So I think if we just specify the magic close, it should work. Does the kernel cleaning up the FD not closing it? No, I don't think it does. See, that's where the error comes from. So for example, the watchdog. Oops. Grep watchdog. I'm on my local machine, aren't I? Yeah, that's it. Oh, did the server reboot again? I think it did. Yeah, I think I accidentally rebooted the server again. No big deal. Couple holes in my Prometheus graphs, but... So watch, if I run this out... Bad. That's new. Oh, that's because of this code. Here. I'm sure. One sec. Yeah, see, so if you actually fail to stop the device, then it will tell you it did not stop in dmessage, and it looks like that's the kernel's way of saying, like, hey, the machine's going to reboot. But if I run this successfully, and you close the file descriptor, like, I'm using the magic close character, but it's not doing anything at the moment. See, it seems like it works. So, but bad address for set options. So ioctl set int. So the docs that Terran just... Oh, so if you remove the right to V right now, but do close the file, it won't reboot. Yeah, I think that's correct. I can find out though. Okay, so these logs look to me like it is expecting the magic close. So I don't know what's going on. It looks like it needs magic close, but it's not reporting that it does. And it looks like it's already enabled without me doing anything. Unless it's possible that one of my previous calls, changed it. But let me, I guess I can reboot the machine again. Don't you want get support and not get status? Yeah, we actually are already doing get support. That's right here. This is this ioctl get watchdog info. It is enabled by default, yes. Okay, so the thing is the bit mask here doesn't seem to be indicating that it is, right? That's what we're running into. So magic close is re-enabled. We're not going to do anything with the flags. Leave it alone for now. So if I run this now, you're printing the result of get status. Yeah. Not info options. Oh, I think get status. Wait a minute. Get support. Get not info options. Oh, I think I see what you mean. Info. I think I see what you mean. How do we get on this then? Maybe we were down some rabbit hole. Anyway, so options. Let's see here. Info, options, info, options. I think I may have gotten conflated between status, options, and support. Like all three of, I think I may have gotten those conflated somewhere. Get smart, get good, get some. Exactly. Okay, 8180. That makes more sense. So 8180 options are, let's see here. Keep alive ping. Magic close. Set timeout. 8180. Yeah, keep alive ping, magic close, set timeout, I think. Yeah, cool. Hey, Lithium, thank you so much for the gift sub to Dominic. I appreciate that. Yep, I think that I hate Twitch chat. Yeah, I think the problem here was that we were just looking at the wrong fields. That's pretty silly, huh? So it does support magic close. It's already enabled. We were looking at options and not the other thing. You're back. What'd you miss? Hey, I was putting the values for the wrong field for a long time and trying to figure out why the kernel was giving me wrong data. So. Well, okay. So the options supported are 8180, right? That was the bit mask. So yeah, set timeout, magic close, and keep alive ping. And that's exactly what the driver said, right? So SP5100. Okay, now we're in business. Yeah, this makes more sense. It looks like status returns bits from WDOG. Yeah, that was a bit of a rabbit hole there. I was getting very confused, but Twitch plays pair programming. Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. You know, it's pretty cool. It's actually one of the really nice things about Twitch chat is they can help you find silly mistakes. You know. Cool. Okay, so let's magic close and stuff. I assume that might be like Linux only though. If we want to try and make this cross-platform, but oh, so there is a WDOG, really? But it's not in UAPI. Oh, I should keep my personal browser windows away. You all can see my bookmarks bar. I guess there's nothing up there, suspect, but interesting. So why are these not part of the user space API? I love that your first reaction was, is the driver buggy? No, I think my first reaction was that like I was using it wrong. Like I thought we actually had to enable the device or something, but we've got, you know, folks in chat who are better investigating than me. Yeah, we'd want the UAPI versions for sure. Yeah, it seems like there should be a way to check the no way out, but it's not in the UAPI, at least. Yeah, so I'm looking at the UAPI file as well, but the problem is it looks like some of those constants, like the WDOG stuff, like the active no way out, these are not in UAPI. So they're in the status flags, but they're not in the UAPI. I have no idea why that would be, you know. That strikes me as odd, I guess. Hmm. Generic watchdog defines derived from nothing. Seems good. Man, how strange. Keep alive ping. Keep alive ping reply. Does that mean we can read from the device whenever we ping it? That doesn't make sense. That's an ioctal though. Like we're not. I mean, I guess we could try and read from it in a loop, but let's find out. I guess let's do something silly. I'm just curious if this is actually sending us anything as a reply. Read B error panic F failed to read. B up through N. And do this all in a go routine so we don't block the main thread. Okay. Panic F. Ah, yeah. What's going on here? It's actually sending us anything in return. Ah, failed to read E inval. Okay. So I guess I don't understand the ping reply thing. Like, what's that for? Keep alive ping reply. So get status returns the WDIOF flags in int. Okay. Unknown flag, unknown status. I mean, of course, I think we're getting further into this than we really need to. Not sure why you need the... Well, so the other one, I guess the thing is there, I was looking at it. Taryn pointed out there was stuff like checking the no way out mode. Like, that could possibly be useful to know for user space. But I don't know. Let's close some tabs here. Any review on this yet? Nope, that's okay. It looks like large data bank probably isn't streaming today. We're probably going to wrap the stream in just a sec here, I think. I'm getting pretty... Oh, he says he'll be back on Sunday. Oh. Well. Maybe he's busy. Anyway, we've accomplished a fair amount, I think. This is probably a pretty good time to wrap up. It's going on about 3 hours. I could use a break, go relax Sunday a little bit. Change the spec to write only. We will want to look at the options masks. So, where are we at now? We don't need panic F anymore either. Oh, my server rebooted again. 3 reboots today. That's pretty good, huh? Get support returns what it can do, but get status should use the same flags to indicate if the thing is on has occurred. Also says that not every driver supports get status. Maybe some support it incorrectly. Yeah, I'm confused by the docs here as well. Like it seems to be there's like 3 different ways to like do these individual things, and it's pretty confusing to me. Or not 3 different ways, but like 3 different like terminologies here. Like, oh, this flag is used in this place, but also this place, and I don't know. Anyway, we did good work. I'm pretty happy with this. I think at this point we're blocked on... Nobody else can use this because my forked copy of Exsys is not merged yet, but it will be soon. So, all right. I think we are going to wrap up the stream. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you all for hanging out. First stream back, so this will go on YouTube as well. Yeah, should be a great time. Is there anybody we could... Not really. Alrighty, gang. Well, it's been a lot of fun. I will catch you all later. Take care. See ya.